Let's make shawarma quesadillas. To a mixing bowl, add a pound of ground meat. It could be lamb. In this case, this is beef. To that, we're going to add a quarter of a grated onion. We're grating it because we're trying to remove as much of the moisture from it that we can. So we'll squeeze all that out once we get a quarter. You could do this in a food processor, or if you had a small blender, that would work too. So just gather it up with your fingers and just squeeze out all the extra liquid that it has. It's quite a bit. And then add that to the bowl. All right, next let's season it up. This is Kashmiri red chili. It's not overly spicy, but it's lovely. And we're gonna use a teaspoon. Now, because we're adding this to the meat and it's quite red in color, to tempt this or to make sure that this is done correctly when we make the quesadilla, we're going to use a meat thermometer because this is going to make it red, so you won't be able to tell if the juices have run clear. Next, we want a whole tablespoon of shawarma mix, our shawarma spice. I got this one at a Middle Eastern store, but you can order it online, and I've seen it in many grocery stores in a small, like little McCormick size spice container in the spice area. So this blend is amazing. This is 8 different spices, so it saves you from having to go 8 different spices that maybe you didn't have in your cabinet, but it is so lovely. It's got cumin and cinnamon and coriander, all kinds of things in it. It's so yummy. And then salt to taste. That looks about right. And now we're going to add 6 cloves of chopped garlic, chopped cilantro, and pine nuts. Just scooch all those in. And now, because I don't really feel like touching raw meat, I'm going to wear gloves today, but you can do it however you'd like. It's not as easy with a spoon, but it can be done. So now let's give it a mix. Anybody else out there hate touching cold ground meat? Winston? If you know, you know. All right, that looks pretty good to me. So before you proceed, I think it's really important, because if you're going to go to this trouble, you want your food to be really delicious. Take just a little tiny bit of it. That's about the size of just a couple of grapes, and smash it pretty thin. I want it to be 1/4 of an inch thick, so just a really thin patty. Put that in a little tiny dish, and then we're going to microwave this for 20 seconds, or until it's at least 160 degrees if you want a thermometer. If you're scared, then that's probably what you should do. The reason we're doing this is so that we can taste it and check for the seasoning, because you might decide it's not nearly spicy enough for you. You might decide it needs more salt or something like that. So it's always wise to do it with any kind of ground meat mixture like this before you commit. Microwave a tiny little bit, or you could also put it in a skillet on the stove, but that's a little bit more steps and more dirty dishes. But I think it's a way to make sure that it's really delicious and that you love how it's going to taste. All right, so here's my nuked little tiny patty, and we'll temp it just for shits and giggles. But yeah, we're way over. You'd want to be at 165, 160, 165, and we're way over. So we are safe to taste it. We're going to see if it's any good. It smells like heaven. It's perfect. Divide your meat mixture into 4. And then you're going to pat one of the portions onto the bottom half of a large tortilla. And yes, it could be another flatbread. If you wanted to use lavash, if you wanted to use a pita or another one of the flatbread family, that'd be fine. Whatever can fit inside of your panini press. Just a nice even layer. All right, fold the tortilla in half over the meat filling, just like it would be for a regular quesadilla. And then just a wee bit of oil on top, and give it a little brush. And now we're going to load it into our panini press. You could also do this in a skillet. So in it goes, upside down, and now I'm going to oil this other side just real quickly. And the oil helps it brown and also helps it get crispy. Oh man, that looks good. It only takes a few minutes. Look how juicy. That's why it's so great to do something like this with the raw meat mixture going onto your tortilla, because you get all that juiciness. It's not being left behind in your pan. And just to be safe, we're going to temp it by sliding our thermometer in this way. You can't really go this way when it's so thin, so slide it in this way. And you can see that we're way over. Safety temperature would be 165 max. We're already way over. And now we fill it. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. I love lettuce, cucumbers, pickled red onion, much or as little as you'd like, some tomato, a little bit of salt, and then the thyme. So take a big scoop of the thyme and just slather it on this side. This is so different than mayo. I'm so glad stores are starting to sell it, but there's nothing like homemade, and it's so easy. Close it up, and we'll cut it in half. The tortilla is crunchy, the meat is juicy. It's so good. But make it. I think you'll like it. Mmm. Mmm. Mm-hmm. Damn. I'm so happy.
2, 1, go.
This is beef today. To that,
What are we making?
oh shit. Let's make shit. Oh, there's a hair from the pastry brush. Ew.